citizens of Westeros, it is time to return to the world of Game of Thrones with the first episode of House of Dragon. Hey y'all, my name's Sasha Raquel, because a lot of you might be new, but I am a really big fan of Game of Thrones, and tonight the prequel series House of Dragon, which follows, of course, the Targaryen line approximately 200 years prior to the events of Game of Thrones. It aired tonight, and I'm so excited. If you like my thoughts, please consider subscribing. I'd love to create a little Game of Thrones community here on the channel. First and foremost, I'm so excited to be getting into the Targaryen family. I feel like, of course, with Daenerys Targaryen being one of the darlings of the original Game of Thrones, a fan favorite character, I feel like it's only natural to dive into this character's history and where she comes from, her lineage, her ancestors, and the Targaryen line, of course, kind of haunts all of Game of Thrones with talks of the Mad King holding the power of dragons. That's like kind of big even for Westeros. This has been so highly anticipated for me, and so I'm so excited that it's finally here. I do want to commend this episode. Of course, it has a little bit going for it because fans of the original Game of Thrones have had a lot of time to learn about the families, the houses, kind of the layout of the Seven Kingdoms, and understand a lot more now than we did when the pilot of Game of Thrones came out. However, I do think that this series has done a better job at being less exposition-y with introducing you to the characters, yet giving you a more proper introduction, and in my opinion, moving the story along at kind of a very impressive pace. I don't know if it's just because now I'm more acutely aware of how things might play out in this series following what happens in the very first episode, but I just think the writers kind of really get you where you're going, have a lot of emotional, kind of tragic things happen, of course, with Emma, the queen, dying, with the loss of an heir, and with Rhaenyra taking the throne or being named the heir, and Daemon being cast out of King's Landing. A lot happened, and I just want to say that I'm very impressed with the way that was all handled without kind of throwing everything at you. If you're seeing this review and haven't yet watched the episode, or were maybe like, I didn't catch all those names, highly recommend watching with subtitles. Today was the first time I'd done it for any Game of Thrones episode, and it really helped because so many of their names are so complex, and I just think that's really helpful to kind of catch everything they're saying, especially when there are so many references to the first series in this episode, which was some of my favorite part. The way I absolutely screamed when they said this secret is known as the Song of Ice and Fire, and then the coming of the Great Winter from beyond the wall, like, I mean, we all were, let's be honest. I'm not special. We were all freaking out. One nitpick. It's something I like because it's smart, but it's a little bit of a nitpick that I'm sure other fellow Game of Thrones fans would be interested to know, is, of course, Rhaenyra is one of the Targaryens who wears braids in her hair. She wears very similar styles to like early seasons of Dany's hair from Game of Thrones. However, one like little thing, and this I can't take full credit for, it has been pointed out online before, but Daenerys wears braids in her hair because of being married to Khal Drogo. Because she was a part of the Dothraki community, Dothraki used braids as a way to signify their victories over their enemies. And now Rhaenyra has braids nearly 200 years before that. And I have read online that they have kept the braids so that you as an audience, as a viewer, associate Rhaenyra with Daenerys, which of course is extremely smart. And I like that callback, and it's a lot more subtle than Daenerys's braids, because over the seasons of Game of Thrones, Daenerys's braids become more complex, more interwoven. There's a lot more of them. By the time the finale rolls around, basically her whole hair is in just like a mess of braids, all kind of tied together into one big braid. It's like a Dothraki custom, and like she definitely doesn't know any Dothraki, so you know, there's that. But I really liked her as a character. I definitely feel drawn to her. She spent her whole life feeling like her father is chasing something he does not have and will never have, and she even sees the loss of her mother, and I think that allows us to really empathize with her, while also getting to see this series as a journey of her from girlhood and naivety into queendom, because you see her getting close with Daemon, her uncle, and kind of not necessarily caring about upward mobility within the kingdom and securing her position, as she talks to Alicent about. Yet we know by the end of this episode what is kind of her fate, her destiny is to become queen. So I like her as a character. I'm not gonna hold the braids thing against her, I guess is what I'm gonna say. And then Daemon. Is it because he's Nat Smith? Yes. Is he because he's kind of a twisted villain character? Yes. Is it because I definitely get some Hamlet vibes, killing your own brother to get the power type vibes from him? Yes. I love Daemon Targaryen. I will defend him until his dying days, even though, of course, I like Rhaenyra too, so that's gonna complicate that for me, definitely. But love Daemon 100%. Daemon girls in the comments, let me know, because I'm sorry, I like a complex character. I like a villain a little bit, okay? Long story short, I'm just really excited to be back in the world of Westeros, of the Seven Kingdoms, getting to see all these political intrigue webs of chaos and betrayal and romance and death. I want to see it all happen. And so again, I hope if you're interested in these reviews and you want me to keep going, that you'll like this video and consider hitting the subscribe button so that you can follow me as we dive deeper into House of Dragon in the weeks to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day or night whenever you're getting to watch this, and I will see you in my very next video. Bye, y'all.